Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our webinar, Blogging for Beginners. Just a couple things before Colleen gets started. She's going to be your host today for this webinar. The webinar is about 45 minutes long. At the end, we will have time for Q&A. So if you do think of questions along the way, go ahead and type those into the box that you see in your GoToWebinar window, and we'll be happy to answer as many of those questions as we can at the end of the webinar. The one question we get asked at every single webinar is this being recorded? And the answer is yes, we are recording this for you. So you'll be able to access the information from this webinar next week on our help site. I usually wait about a week to put those up there. So I'll also include the deck if you want to take a look at that as well, but it's better to listen to the recording. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Colleen, and she's going to take you through all kinds of tips for blogging.
Perfect. Thank you, Jill. All right, so let's look at the agenda first. So number one, we're going to discuss what is a blog. Number two, obviously, why should we even be blogging? Three, who are bloggers? Four, we're going to talk a lot about content. So this will talk about particular content you can write about, where to get inspirations for your content, etc., and then including structure and style. How to build a community, tracking and revenue on your blog, exposure and growing your audience, which everyone really wants to know about, and then of course resources. All right, so what is a blog anyway? So I took this definition from Wikipedia. It says that a blog is a blend term of web and log. It's a series of published posts in reverse chronological order on the internet. And usually blogs are work of a single individual or occasionally a small group. Here at Vertical Response, we do have a small group and we all contribute to the blog. So in that case, that's what we're doing. And it's often themed on a single subject. Also, blogs tend to be pretty interactive, allows visitors to leave comments, things like that, so that kind of distinguishes a blog from just a static website, and it can be seen as a social networking. All right, the blogosphere. So the blogosphere is actually a real term. I'm not making it up.
It does sound made up.
And here's a Wikipedia definition for it, but it's essentially saying that a blogosphere is a connected community or a collection of connected communities. So a social network which kind of encompasses all of these people and their blogs and their interconnections. And then from Wikipedia, as of February 16th, 2011, there were over 156 million public blogs in existence. So everyone is doing it.
Do you have a blog?
I have several blogs, yes.
I have a blog too.
Yes.
So everybody has blogs.
Everyone has a blog, even aside from Vertical Response.
Yes.
So, and then we have the state of the blogosphere. So, and this is conducted by Technorati. Technorati is a blog search engine and a search engine directory, and they've been examining the growth and trends of the blogosphere since around 2004. So since then, they've been reporting and releasing their findings, which they collect through a series of surveys with all of the bloggers. So the statistics that you'll find throughout this entire webinar are from Technorati's 2011 State of the Blogosphere, and you can find the entire report on their website as well. All right, so what kinds of blogs are there? Number one, personal. These are probably the most popular of blogs. So like you can see, Jill and I both have personal blogs, aside from writing for a Vertical Response marketing blog. And then two, corporate or organizational. That is, for instance, the Vertical Response marketing blog. And then there are genre blogs. So an entire blog dedicated to music, travel, sports, fashion, photo. The list goes on. And then we have microblogs. So these are mostly just pictures or very short blurbs of information. Tumblr is a microblog system, so you'll see that. All right, so who are bloggers? Again, these stats are from Technorati's State of the Blogosphere. So within the blogosphere, 61% of bloggers are hobbyists. So that means they're purely blogging for fun, and they're not reporting any income from blogging. And then we have professional part and full-timers. That makes up 18%. These people are independent bloggers. Most of them don't consider blogging, their primary source of income. and they tend to blog about personal musings and technology. And then we have corporate, that's 8%. These are people who blog as part of their full-time job, or they're blogging full-time for a company that they work for, and they typically tend to talk about technology or business. And then we have entrepreneurs, 13%, and these are individuals who are actually blogging for the company that they own. So that would be like Janine Popick for Vertical Response. All right, so most importantly, why should we even be blogging? So number one, blogging allows you to generate and share great content with your audience. Two, it allows you to showcase and share your expertise. You know your company and your products more than anyone else. That's why your company or your customers or your readers are going to come to you. So share that expertise with them. It allows you to create a community. It also allows you to showcase your company's personality and let it shine. This is a really, really great way to let personality or several personalities shine through writing. And then obviously you can generate leads through it. And it allows you to gain visibility, exposure, and improve your search engine optimization. So here you can see more than 60% of corporate and entrepreneur bloggers have gained greater visibility in their industry purely through blogging. That's a big percentage. So that's really important to know. And then this one's really fun. 54% of bloggers have made friends through their blog, and they've become more involved in their passion areas as a result of blogging. So that's really fun. And then, of course, income. All right, so where do I start? First, you want to, you want to pick a blog platform. There are so many different blog platforms. Really just explore all of them. Choose one that you like the most. They're all great in different aspects in different ways. So here are just 5 different. So we have WordPress, Blogger, Blogspot, which is owned by Google. Typepad, which is what we use here at Vertical Response. Tumblr, again, that's more of like a microblogging, but a lot of companies do use it. And then, of course, you could have a custom-built HTML blog. And then here you can see WordPress is actually the most popular blog hosting service. It's used by 51% of bloggers. I personally have WordPress, Blogger, Tumblr, and we use Typepad at VR. So,
so you've used
yes,
a lot.
Yep, I've used all of them. All right, so what do I even write about? So first, let's define your purpose. Are you wanting to educate your customers? Do you want to be an industry resource? Are you keeping people up to date with what's new? And are you giving your brand some personality? Maybe you want to be all of the above. Just establish and define your purpose so then your readers will know what to expect. And I have a really good quote here. Lisa Barone, who is the co-founder and chief branding officer of Outspoken Media, she said to just identify your place in the market and ask yourself what 3 things do you want people to associate with your brand. So really hone in on those. And then again, 9 out of 10 people who own a company or maintain a blog for their company are blogging about their specific industry. All right, content ideas. Number 1, tap into your audience's interests. And the best way to do this is to create surveys or ask your customers simply. You could either do it through social media or email, etc. Just ask what topics they're interested in and then write about them. If you really listen to your readers, they'll tell you exactly what they want. Give your advice and expertise. Like I said, you are the expert. You know your product and your company more than anyone, so give your customers that expertise. And share your opinion. This could be on current events, hot topics, etc. Just make sure to relate that back to your industry and to your customers. This one is fun. Feature customer or employee profiles. So it's actually pretty fun to see who, put a name to the face if you, especially if you're blogging. So really getting to see the behind the scenes of the company, employee profiles, things like that, and then customer profiles too. If there's a customer who's doing something really great, showcase them, and that'll even bring more people, to the blog post because that's exciting. And then share stories within your industry. So if you find other things in your industry that are really great, share that information, even if it's not coming from you. Just obviously you want to give credit to wherever it came from. But this really helps your customers keep up to date. Providing comprehensive how-to articles. These are some of our most popular blog posts, how-to. Again, like I said, you are the expert, really explaining how to do something, whether it's I don't know, has to do with your particular product, how to actually use the product, or even fashion tips if you have a fashion blog. So how-tos are really great. And then these are some of my favorite too lists. So top 10, best and worst, do's and don'ts. People love to look at do's and don'ts, best and worst. They want to make sure they're not on the list. All right, some more content ideas. So conduct expert interviews. Really just tap into the knowledge of pros aside from yourself. This one, repurpose content while adding your own perspective. So similar, if you find something within your industry or you read something on another blog and you think it's really great, repurpose it on your blog, but like I said here, provide commentary, don't copy. Behind the scenes of your business. Again, kind of similar to employee profiles, people like to see what's going on in the background there, so even displaying that kind of information. Discuss case studies, include obviously a problem, the solution, and results. People really like to see results. Reviews. So this really helps your customers and your readers make decisions. People love to read reviews. That's why websites like Yelp are so popular. People go there to see what everyone else is saying. This could be on books, products, tools, events, anything that has to do with your industry. People will love to hear about it. And then obviously contests. Contests are really fun. And this really helps engage your customers and your readers as well. So ask for nominations and participation. And of course you want to announce finalists. All right, inspirations. So you can see here we have other blogs. So the #1 influence for bloggers regarding topics that they blog about are other blogs. That's 68%. So going through lots of other blogs will help you, inspire you on topics. It'll really kind of give you an idea and a perspective as to what everyone else is writing about. And then you can see here, second and third most influential for blog topics are conversations with friends and social media. So word of mouth and, scrolling through your Facebook and your Twitter, seeing what top trends, things like that. Employees. So here at Vertical Response, we have big brainstorming sessions. We have one today.
We do, after the webinar.
We have one about blog posts. So really getting all of your employees together. People have lots of different perspectives, and that kind of, gets the creative juices flowing when you have big brainstorms and things. Customers, obviously survey them. They're going to be your best inspiration, about topics, because this is who you're writing to, and they're going to be able to give you the best information about what they actually want to read about. And then, of course, current events and hot topics. It's always great to stay, with current events. And then Quora and Yahoo Answers. So Quora and Yahoo Answers are Q&A sites. So you can go in, into Quora, you can go in and actually type in a topic. It can be about your industry or your business, and then it'll actually pop up things that people are asking questions about that particular topic. So this will give you a good idea as to what people are inquiring about within your industry, and it'll kind of let you hone in on particular topics that you can write about, since people are asking so many questions about it. Social media, again, we had mentioned that. Promotions and advertisements. It's really good just to look at all of the promos and advertisements that you see around, and these might help inspire content. You could do best and worst promos, things like that. We've done that before. And then your competition, obviously. You want to read your competitors' blogs, and they don't necessarily, you don't have to look at them as competitors, especially for a blog, more as like a community. This slide is just from the Technorati State of the Blogosphere. This is the survey that they did. What is your primary influence on topics you blog about? So you can see #1. So there are all the different types of people at the bottom: entrepreneur, hobbyist, etc. And the #1 is other blogs I read. So by far, aside from other.
Right, that
Yeah.
one's really big. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that other blogs I read is the people who are professional and part-time bloggers are the primary ones that are inspired by other blogs.
Right.
It's great.
Yes. So other blogs, and then you can see social media accounts that I follow, conversations with friends. These all tend to be pretty big influencers on the topics that you're blogging about. This here is an example. This was a blog post of top 11 vertical response blog posts of 2011. So we have our top ones here. And what you can actually notice if you can scan through the headlines, that social media tends to be a pretty hot topic in every single one. You can see Facebook, Twitter, Facebook again. So these are very hot topics, at least for our particular audience. And then you can see too, we have lots of lists. So top 10s, we have 3 ways, 9 ways, 6 ways, 7 ways. There are a lot of different ways and how-tos. Those are really popular as well. And then you can see current events too, like the what small businesses can learn from the Missoni for Target mayhem. So this is where the Target website actually crashed. Yeah, and a lot of people couldn't buy the Missoni for Target products.
A lot of people in this office couldn't buy
them. So this was a very timely particular topic, and it was interesting. And then and kind of tying that back into your reader, what can you learn from that? And then advice. So we have want more clicks, rise to the top, etc. So those tend to be the most popular types of blogs, at least for our audience. All right, content considerations. So number 1, content shouldn't be too sales specific. Michael Stelzner of Social Media Examiner, he has a good quote. He says, "Have a drop or 2 of marketing per gallon of valuable content." So the blog is where you want to demonstrate your expertise and personality, and you want to share your content and give value to your customers. It isn't really a place to hard sell in the content, at least. You can have lead generation information on the sides of your blog, etc., but the content should really just provide value for your customers. So
right, that's what your website is for,
right.
And your email marketing is for.
Yes.
But your blog is a place to show more personality.
Yep, exactly. All right, so then obviously you want to be timely, enticing, and relevant. You don't want to be talking about, I don't know, say Thanksgiving at this time, because it's not going to be relevant. No one wants to read about it at this time. It's a bit too late. And then embrace your competition.
Or really early.
Right, yes. And then, of course, embrace your competition and give exposure. If you're looking at a competitor's blog and they have really great information, don't be afraid to share it. You can say, hey, our friends at so-and-so have some really great information, and you can provide your commentary, whether you agree with them or you don't agree. So just embrace that and give them exposure, because it'll expand your audience as well. And then, of course, inspire people to take action. That can be in several different ways, open-ended questions or contests, etc. This is very important. Promote shareability. So this is obviously by putting like a Facebook like or Twitter retweet. So you want to put your social media share icons on there. Let people get your blog posts out into the internet world as much as possible. So really promote that. And then, of course, you want to utilize photos, videos, and guides. So break up your content, put lots of photos and videos, etc., so it doesn't become too stagnant. And then, of course, be mindful of your search engine optimization. So you want to employ keywords and tags strategically in your blog post, so that when people actually type that into Google or wherever, that they're able to find your blog easily. All right, structure and style. Think less is more. So people tend to read about 25% slower online than offline. So it's best to keep your copy on the shorter side. And then, of course, you want to put your key points up front and use bullets and lists to really break up your copy. And then, of course, you want to add a takeaway to each paragraph. You could write about something really great, but you want to relate that back to, okay, how can your customer use that? Or, how is that going to be relevant to your actual customer?
So I noticed a lot of these tips are really what we talk about in emails, too.
Yes, they are very, very similar. All right. So bucket brigade words. These, even though they're tricky to say, they really help move your copy forward. So these particular words include words like remember, and, but, consider, however, for example. So it really just helps your copy flow. And then, of course, you want to write for your audience. So just remember to really keep your audience in mind. Are you writing for your industry, for business, or your consumer? Really keep that in mind and think, okay, is this going to be relevant to these people? This one is my favorite, get real. So it can be hard sometimes to eliminate the inner marketer in us. But like we had mentioned before, this blog is really to give your content or your customers and your readers valuable content. And you really want to meet the core desires of your audience and your readers. So it'll resonate with them. You know, the more personable that you are, the more real that you are. And then write how you speak. That's why blogs are so personable, because you feel like someone is actually speaking to you. It doesn't tend to be terribly formal. It depends on your type of business, though. And then, of course, ask questions. So if you write a really great blog post, but it could be opinionated, or you could say, you know, how are you dealing with this, or what are your thoughts on this? So really promote that. And then, of course, you want to entertain and be a great storyteller. Read your blog post back to you and think, is this something that I would really be interested in listening to? And if not, you know, you can keep working at it, turn it into a really great story. Blog headlines. So these are very, very similar to email subject lines. You want to keep them on the brief side. I think the average readership is 140 characters for online, which is why Twitter is, you know, 140 characters. So that's kind of the attention span of people. So you want to keep your headlines brief, but you want to make a promise or offer value in your headline. Of course, you want to be engaging and capture attention, and you want to write your blog post titles with Twitter in mind. So this is in case someone retweets your actual blog post. Make sure it's not too long, that it doesn't go over the 140 characters, and that it'll actually resonate on Twitter and people will understand what that actual tweet is about. All right, so what tone of voice should I use? So 79% of bloggers describe their blogging style as sincere. 67, so this is combined obviously because these numbers do not add up to 100. So 67 describe as conversational, and then professional corporates and entrepreneurs describe as expert. So you can still be sincere, conversational, and an expert all in one. And then obviously the voice should reflect your company. If your company is more casual and cheeky and you guys like lots of puns and your customers expect that, then go right ahead. But if it tends to be more professional, you want to obviously gear your voice towards your customers and your audience. But a blog is best written in first person. It just makes it more personable. But you still want to make sure that you're showcasing your personality. That's what's so important in a blog. And then, of course, you just want to be genuine. All right, style and structure considerations. You want to be transparent with your readers to a certain degree. So I had quoted Lisa Barone before from Outspoken Media. She spoke at Blog World, and she was talking about transparency and how she has this quote where she says, "Full transparency as bloggers makes us look crazy and unstable." It encourages us to whine and complain. And she said, being a successful marketer doesn't mean letting your nasty bits hang out. So it's really just about, you know, being positive. You want to be transparent, but you don't want to use your blog as a tool to complain, whine and complain. And she says also, too, that we fall in love with people who represent who we want to be. And it allows you to hone in on your marketing strategy, and it heightens your personality, and it'll connect with your readers. So she says here, just magnify and strengthen your marketable traits. And then lose everything that doesn't relate back to what you want to show your customers, and that'll really help reinforce your brand. And then, of course, don't be afraid to take risks. All right, so how often do I write? These are purely statistics from the State of the Blogosphere. I just want to say that these are purely just guidelines. It'll be completely different for every business. This does not mean that you have to be doing this to a T. And the main takeaway from this is really just consistency is key. So you can see here 60% of bloggers blog up to 3 hours a week, and 40% blog more than 3 hours a week. Professional full-time bloggers, 26%, update their blog at least 3 times per day. That is
Holy cow.
Quite often, yes.
I think they should be on Facebook.
So of course that does not mean that you need to be updating your blog 3 times a day. It really just depends on your bandwidth, your resources, etc. Majority of bloggers update their blog 2 to 3 times a week. Here at Vertical Response, we probably average 3 to 4 times, but we also have a large group, well, like 7+ people contributing to the blog. So we have, several people contributing. And then 80% of bloggers have been blogging for at least 2 years, but that does not mean that you can't start right now. So again, really the main takeaway from this is just consistency. Make a schedule and stick to it, even if you're blogging just once a week. All right, so create a community. You obviously want to be interactive and encourage comments. This is for open-ended questions, contests, etc. Really ask your customers and your readers what they think about what you had just written about. You do want to implement a commenting policy. This is really in case you get, I don't know, aggressive people or something. So it's good to implement a commenting policy, just saying if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. It depends on what you want for your particular comments.
And of course, you're going to be the final voice and the final say in what comments are going to be posted. Most blogs allow you to look through them, so that can actually help you keep the spam and all the weird comments, because there's a lot of strange comments that come through when you have a public blog. But one of the things that Colleen mentioned earlier also was being transparent. So just because somebody doesn't necessarily agree with your blog post, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't allow the comment to show.
Yes, exactly.
And that gives you a great, opportunity to either clear up a point that maybe that person had misunderstood, or just allow other voices. I mean, there's nothing wrong with somebody disagreeing with you. Let other people see. Yep,
exactly. So of course you want to be clear, concise, and easy to find. You don't want your blog to be hidden in the abyss of your website. Let people find you easily. And then publish all comments, positive or negative. So like Jill had mentioned, if someone doesn't agree with it, that's fine. It's good to have all perspectives on there. And people will see that as well, and they'll know, okay, I can actually make a comment and have it heard and published. So they'll be more likely to comment in the future. And then respond where and when appropriate. Obviously, if someone asks you a question, you'll want to respond to that. This one here, delete inappropriate comments and spam. So this is like if you have X-rated comments or, spam bots writing random stuff on your blog, you don't want to keep that. So that stuff is okay to just go ahead and delete. All right, so how do I gain exposure? You can have this really fantastic blog, but how does anyone even find it? So number one, get social. If you're not on social media, you really should be. But you don't have to be on every single social media platform. So you don't want to go out there and make 5 million different accounts on every single social media platform just to be there. Really think about who your audience is too, and go where they're going. And then sharing buttons. So social sharing buttons. You can see here is an example. This is taken from our blog. It says share this page. You can like the blog on Facebook, and this will link it exactly as the post is to their particular Facebook page. Tweet, so you can actually click that, and that'll actually send the tweet to their own page. We have Google Plus here, and then share, that'll allow people to share it in several ways, including email. You want to link your blog to your social media accounts as well. So not just social sharing buttons, but you actually want to have your social media accounts there so people can go and actually like your social media, your Facebook page, or follow you on Twitter, etc. So repurpose blog content in your emails and on your social media accounts. This is really important. We do this a lot here at Vertical Response, and the blog content, for instance, in our VR Buzz newsletter, weekly newsletter, we repurpose our blog posts in there just in case someone didn't catch it when it went live. And there are most popular aspects of the newsletter. So just because you posted a blog doesn't mean people saw it immediately. So give them, a few different ways to actually see that content. And of course, you want to post it on your Facebook or Twitter, etc. And then network with, collaborate, and feature other bloggers. This will really expand your audience. So it not only builds a relationship and a community, but it'll allow you to gain an audience outside of your own. And then have RSS feeds and email subscriptions where available. I also have a stat here, 82% of bloggers use Twitter and 89% use Facebook. So looks like majority of bloggers are on Twitter and Facebook, which will allow you to tweet and share your posts.
I have to say, a lot of the blogs that I read, I actually read from Facebook.
Right, yep.
It's much easier for me.
Yeah, and on Twitter, I get a lot of my information, blog posts from Twitter, so that's where a lot of people tend to find it. And then we actually have Roost, in which you can actually schedule and post your content. It'll allow you to schedule and post all of your blog content on a Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn all at once, which is pretty fabulous. So how do I gain exposure, etc.? So put your blog on your corporate website. Like I said, you want to make yourself easy to find. So put a tab or a link on your home page of your website. I'm sure if you already have an established website, people are used to coming to that. So really let your blog be known on your web page. And then, of course, look for cross-promotional opportunities with already established audiences. And then you want to share relevant posts and link back to other blogs. So again, this will create mutually beneficial relationship. It'll help with traffic and search engine optimization. And then, of course, read and comment on other relevant blogs. So not just focusing on your own blog, but read your competitors or friends' blogs and comment on theirs. They'll more likely come to your blog as well and post on yours.
Just make sure your comments are relevant to what's going on there. Otherwise, people might think they're spam as well.
Right.
If they think you're just there to promote your own blog. So make sure your comments are relevant to what's posted on, or what's on the blog you're posting to.
Yes, exactly. All right, so here's an example. This is one of my favorite. I like to talk about ModCloth a lot. This is an online retailer based here in San Francisco, and they have been really successful purely through social media and their blog. So this is just an example here. We'll go through a couple of things. So one, you can see that this particular blog post is about a contest. So this is a good example of posting a contest on your blog. And it's interesting too, they're actually doing the contest on their blog, but it has to do with their Pinterest. So they're actually linking to another social media aspect. So that's kind of great because they're combining two in one. So this will promote a lot of engagement and getting people involved. And then you can see in the red box there, they have social sharing features. So say I read this contest and I think, wow, this is super, super awesome. I really want to share this. I can like it. It'll post it directly to my Facebook page and I can tweet it. So you want to have those social sharing features either at the top or the bottom of your post. Just make your content really, really easy to share. And then you can see here in the box, they have occasionally guest bloggers. They call them blogger of the moment. So here, you're featuring, this girl does not work for the company, but they're featuring someone else. So they're gaining information from a pro that they really like. It's creating a relationship with this blogger, and it'll probably bring her audience to this blog as well. So win-win for both.
It also, for people who have smaller businesses, also frees up a little more time for you if you don't have to write 1 or 2 blog posts a month. If you can get a guest blogger in there, that makes it a little bit easier on you as well.
Yes, definitely. All right, so this is Seth Godin's blog. Here in the red boxes, you can see these are examples of lead generation. So you can see he has lots of different options to share and sign up. So he has the enter your email address there. So there's a lead generation on the side of the blog where you can actually subscribe. And then he has several different feeds here. So he has RSS feeds. He has his Facebook, his Twitter. You can email. You can subscribe. You can bookmark. He has his Facebook and his Twitter. You can find him everywhere and share it everywhere. And then you can also search the blog either through Google or his own blog. So that's pretty great. And then you can see, so he has that on the side of his blog, and then at the end of this actual blog post, at the bottom, he again has even more social sharing features. So you can tweet that, you can like it, or share it on Google+. So really just letting your content and your blog be exposed in several different ways is excellent. All right. Oh, look, it's our own page.
Amazing.
So this is actually our Facebook page, which is streaming our blog content. So it's a tab this is made specifically with a third-party app. It's called Networked Blogs. So it actually, you can see there at the top, blog posts imported by Networked Blogs. So you can go there and you can actually, it allows you to stream your blog posts onto your Facebook page, which is super easy. You can still obviously want to do posts and things like that on Facebook with your blog posts, because not everyone is going to be actively coming to your Facebook page to look at your blog. So you still want to feature it, but you want to have it there, you know, in case someone is looking at your Facebook page and they can say, oh, hey, look, here are all the blog posts. So it's great to have that streaming on your Facebook page. It's a really great idea to have. So how do you track traffic? Almost every single blog platform has reporting tools. Some are more in-depth than others. And it can provide you, you know, basic reporting, including, you know, how many posts have been looked at, the top days people are actually looking at your blog, where they're actually coming from. Sometimes I even know WordPress will tell you if someone types in a particular tag or a word through a search engine and it brings it to your blog, it'll tell you. Sometimes those search words are funny. So some are more in-depth than others. Here you can see, this is from Technorati. Google Analytics is by far the most popular service used to follow blog traffic. So this is something additionally that you would use. Google Analytics will give you much more detailed reportings on top of what, say, your blog platform will provide. And then overall traffic drivers to blogs, number 1 is Twitter, 2 Facebook, and 3 blog tags. So you want to obviously share your content on Twitter and Facebook, and you want to have blog tags that are relevant to your posts.
So between the two of us, we pretty much cover how traffic is driven to blogs.
Right.
That's how we both get there.
Yes, exactly. All right, so can you generate revenue from your blog? You can. You can see at the very last bottom bullet point, it says 60% of corporate bloggers say they don't have any advertising on their blog. This doesn't mean that you don't have to. It depends on what you want to do with your blog. So you can see here, display ads, affiliate marketing links, and search ads are the most common ways bloggers generate revenue from their blogs. You can also do sponsorships. So a magazine that I used to work for, we actually had a group of mommy bloggers, and that was sponsored each week by a different advertiser, and they had a little logo above it. So you could have your blog sponsored by different people as well. And then lead generation, obviously. So your content is going to be great value, but having people come, you can have lead generation, sign-up forms, etc. And so the blog is how you create the relationship, but the revenue is really where you take that relationship and how you manage it. All right, so this is an example of lead generation as well. This is the Social Media Examiner. You can see over on the right-hand side in the red box. So he has his blog post on the left, and then right on the right-hand side, there's a lead generation form right there. So you can go in and enter your name and your email address, and boom, they have a lead. So it's pretty easy to actually, you know, gain leads and things like that on your blog. But he's giving really valuable content here. He's writing a blog post about how to blog a great blog. So he's giving great content, but he's still on the side saying, oh, hey, by the way, sign up. So lead generation on the side. All right, so how do you even know if your blog is successful? So these again are just stats from Technorati. So among professionals, corporates, and entrepreneurs, they gauge their success according to the number of unique visitors that they receive. But you can see 69% of hobbyists say that their personal satisfaction is a way that they measure the success of their blog. And really, rather than comparing yourself to others, you really want to compare yourself to yourself. So set your own benchmarks and compare your own growth, like readership, click rates, etc. So be proud of what you're building upon on your own and on your own account. So really don't try to compare numbers and things like that to other people. Just be proud of what you're working on and really try to increase for yourself. All right, so how do you keep track of all of this? Like we had mentioned before, conduct blog brainstorms once a month. We do that at Vertical Response. It gives us an entire calendar of things that we know to blog about, and you're set for at least a month. And then maintain and develop a blog editorial calendar. give deadlines and stick to them. This is really, really important. Once you have that blog brainstorm, plug those blogs onto a calendar, give people deadlines or yourself deadlines, and really stick to them. Consistency is key. Also, if your customers are expecting, 2 to 3, 4 blog posts a week, and you don't blog for a month, you're more likely to lose them. Yeah. So really staying consistent. Again, it depends on your bandwidth. If you can only blog twice a week, that's completely fine. But give yourself deadlines and really stick to those. Here are just a few, more than a few, but here are some of our business blog favorites. So of course we have the VR Marketing blog. We would love for you to visit us all the time. Then there's Blogging Tips, Copy Blogger. That's about content specific, so that's great if you are looking for content information.
Or copywriting. That was some really good copywriting.
Yes, excellent. Copywriting.
I subscribe to that one.
Yes, me too. Marketing Profs, Mashable, Pro Blogger, Seth Godin's blog, we had an example. Social Media Examiner, we had an example of that. TechCrunch is great too. The Retail Email blog, so that's retail specific. They have lots of stats and things, which is really interesting. CEO Blog Watch, Inc.com, and then Duct Tape Marketing. And then last thing, just keep swimming if you're a Finding Nemo fan, or writing in this case. And then most importantly, have fun. Keep calm and blog on.
So I'm going to actually go back to this slide for our Q&A in case people wanted to write any of those down. These are places, again, that you can get great ideas for blogging and also help with blogging. So as we mentioned, a couple of those actually will give you tips and information to make your blogging more successful.